Okay, it is 3, 2, 1. You're live now.
A very good evening to everybody. A very good evening to everybody, and welcome to this webinar on choosing law careers organized by Symbiosis Law School Pune in association with Symbiosis Law School Noida, Hyderabad, and Nagpur. We have with us our speaker and our very own director and dean for Faculty of Law SIU, Professor Dr. Shahikala Gurpur, with us here today. We welcome you all to this event and hope that this event brings immense awareness and knowledge to you, which will help you in the processes that you follow to choose law as your career. And now, before we begin with the event, I'd like to give you a short introduction of our Dean Faculty of Law SIU and Director SLS Pune, Professor Dr. Shahikala Gurpur ma'am. Dr. Gurpur's stature in the realm of legal education is nothing short of remarkable. She, being a Fulbright scholar and Jean Monnet professor at Symbiosis Law School Pune, stands as a shining beacon in the field of legal field as an accomplished academician, passionate researcher, Toastmaster, and Fulbright scholar. Her academic journey, culminating in a PhD in international law and a gold medal in LLM from Mysore University, highlights her dedication and unmatched experience in the legal field. She was also the AHRB Visiting Fellow, Edinburgh Law School, UK, and was selected for the Fulbright Nehru Administrators Seminar. Ma'am, having presented more than 200 invited lectures, workshops, and seminars in prestigious universities across the globe, has had an outstanding career in a wide range of experience in teaching, research, and industry. With an astonishing 26 years of teaching experience in institutes like NLSIU Bangalore, Manipal Institution of Communication, Mahi, and University College, Cork, Ireland. Ma'am's teaching interests include, and research interests include jurisprudence, media law, international law, human rights, research methods, and feminist legal studies. Ma'am also has guided more than 95 masters and 14 PhD students. Currently, her portfolio consists of over 81 research papers and 2 co-authored books. Ma'am is also the recipient of the annual Kittur Rani Mein Channama Award of 2018. And she has rightfully earned her place among the 100 legal luminaries of India recognized by LexisNexis. Ma'am has also achieved numerous research outreach programs such as international research projects like Eurasia, 21st Street Skills, CCP Law, DAD, and Erasmus grants, in addition to holding the prestigious Jean Monnet Chair in EUC LAMP. As we gather here today for this event, we eagerly anticipate your inputs, ma'am. And so I hand over the mic to you, ma'am.
So good evening, Dr. Natasha, Professor Natasha, and all the team who are present here from my admissions committee, all dear parents and students who are on the other side. It's such a pleasure to address you all on this coveted topic of choosing law careers. We will be dwelling on what to choose, how to choose, and how to go about self-examining and being ready for a kind of, we can call, rocking law career in your language. So if you look at law as a profession, it's considered as a noble profession because it is the profession which has been engaged in building the society and building the nation. Lawyers are healers like doctors and architects of the society like engineers. So law is such a profound field of knowledge that the one who earns a law degree through the rigorous process of learning the law and applying the legal logic, it's actually a logic applied with wisdom. So they could never fall short of solving any problem in terms of coping skills and resources. So the core of law or legal profession is justice. And as one of the great legal luminaries of US said, that justice is the human or public face of love. That means it is justice or the sense of justice which keeps society together, which brings the harmony in the society, which also corrects whenever there is challenge to this equilibrium or harmony in the society. Such a sense of justice is core to the learning of law. It is not only a motivator, but also an outcome of learning and applying the law and living according to the rule of law. You look at any nation which follows rule of law, World Bank has released rule of law index. You could say by the rank in the index, the development of that nation. So law is very closely bound up with development. If you want any society, family, or nation to develop, then the only mantra is follow the rule of law. So if you look at the application of law, it covers our lives from birth to death. When you're born, it is a law which says that the birth has to be registered and there is a birth certificate indicating your parentage, locality of birth, date, and time of birth. Now, as you grow along, your personal life is governed by law. Your choices are protected by law. They are identified and defined by law. And they can also be brought to an end by the operation of law. Similarly, when a person dies, leaving assets or that person's existence beyond body to be protected, it is law again which prescribes. Therefore, from ground to the sky, birth to death, it is the law. Ground to the sky means which is the airspace where you can operate what we call as the aircraft, beyond which you can operate the spacecraft. That is also defined by aerospace law. So from ground to the sky, the ground, about whose land, how do you resolve the land disputes, how do you record your ownership of land? Again, it is the law which governs. Therefore, law is pivotal to human operation and particularly to peaceful human operation. If you look at law as a choice, we have legendary heroes in the past who built a nation, who advocated the cause of the voiceless, ranging from Mahatma Gandhi to Barack Obama to current Harish Salve, who has been a classical advocate that India has produced among a few. Then, if you look at the economic recession, law is one discipline which has an answer to this recession, which protects people's rights in such time of crisis. And it is the one which can even absolve a community or a nation out of recession. So law is never affected by recession. Rather, it provides solution in such critical situation also. Law is always bound up with prosperity. When a nation is prosperous, lawyers have a lot of job. When a nation is poor, it is the lawyers who give the secret to prosperity to be distributed among all the citizens of that nation. Therefore, prosperity is bound up with the rule of law. And we also have to see, to enter such a profession, how are we to be ready with? What are the traits of being a good lawyer? What are important features of a lawyer? And why law is a noble profession? So how to be the best lawyer is one of the questions that some of you asked. So I'm addressing that beginning with this. One is, let us all accept that we are the best as far as profession is concerned, because even a doctor will be operating on the basis of their expertise. But if a doctor goes wrong, that doctor may be attracting criminal law. It is at that time to distinguish a professional's negligence and norm or malicious act on the part of a professional in the course of his or her profession, and normal behavior of malice or wrong, as in case of crime, is distinguished by the interpretation and wording of the rule of law. Therefore, it is lawyer who is the one who can even paralyze a mighty elephant or an empire. Therefore, our profession enjoys huge respect. And it is a socially relevant profession. We are all soldiers of justice, as I mentioned earlier. It is a profession which has a solid economic edge, and it is the profession which has got flexibility of career option. Some of you asked how I could be a tax lawyer, what kind of option I have. The answer is that if you want to be a tax lawyer, you have to have that inclination and that aptitude. Inclination and aptitude is indicated by your mathematical prowess, your interest in pursuing CA or for a 3-year law program. If you're already a CA, or if you are partially a CS or already a CS, or you're holding a diploma in taxation, you could enter that field, because you have on the one side the operational idea of what tax is, and how to compute tax in each case or category of income, then it is very easy for you to see how these things can be questioned in the court of law or in the tribunal. So from becoming a computation officer or expert, you could become somebody who would defend the cause of your client by challenging assessment, by challenging rates. So for that, when you're doing normal law degree, you try to attain specialized diploma, specialized internships, and start your career. In cyber law, if you already have a readiness in terms of interest in technology and you have an idea of working with the cyber expert either in the police department or out of your internships, and also having a good aptitude in technology, then you could enter the field of cyber law. There are many cyber law specialized consultants and firms where you could develop. A cyber law expert is also relevant for cyber crimes related investigations and assistance. They are relevant for the current law called data privacy law, where your privacy may be violated when you are using technology. So citizens need to be protected and advised and guarded, and they are to be given literacy sessions. So this is where your job can be relevant. International law, if you have interest, which is shown by following global affairs in your undergraduate program, or if you are interested in Model United Nations, or if you're doing internships in international organizations or practitioners of international law in India or abroad. For example, recently we have been seeing the clouds of war looming large, whether it is in Ukraine or in Palestine. So in these cases, a lot of United Nations organizations are working. You could be interning with one of those like the Red Cross, or it could be United Nations research bodies or consultative bodies. Another question was asked on competition law. It is an option when you're studying business law, because under Bar Council of India, LLB course has got 21 mandatory subjects and 4 clinical subjects. In these mandatory subjects, competition law is not involved, but some electives and honor subjects which Bar Council prescribes, in that competition law is figuring. It's an optional subject, which is an additional highly specialized area. We have an India's Competition Commission. We have Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board. We have also lawyers who are specifically espousing the causes of firms and also consumers under the competition law. So you could intern with them. You could intern in these organizations as much as opting for this elective. This is how you develop your expertise in competition law. Intellectual property law is compulsory subject, but you can always, it's an optional subject, but you can always take it and opt it. And within that, we have non-science based trademark law, copyright law, and purely science-based patent law. So patent law has got a lot of courses outside also, but better you be an expert in any area of science ranging from biological engineering and technology. But intellectual property law in general is also suitable to be practiced by a lawyer if you are developing that expertise or outsourcing somebody in your law firm who is from that field. For example, we have a model firm. We have in Pune also Diwan and Associates, where we have scientific background people assisting the lawyers, and they themselves having law degree. And we have some such model in Chennai with IP Dome, where range of experts from management, business, project background, science background work with the lawyers to register patents, and also in upscaling and getting funding for marketing these innovations. So you understood how ubiquitous and how powerful and how wide-ranging is the kind of expertise that we get in our degree. Thus, there are a range of careers. Law and MBA, somebody asked a question. It's a great combination because law and MBA gives you more competence. You will not only be a managerial person like how MBA people are, you will be a more skilled problem-solving person and governance person, and always you will be steering your organization out of risk with such expertise. So in risk management and risk aversion and risk prevention, the law expertise helps you more than your MBA expertise. because we always say MBA is more about compliance, law is more about governance, although many lawyers are qualifying in compliance as well. But MBA is more about management within the restrictions. Law is about that out-of-box thinking, which may solve the problem beyond simply maintaining the status quo. So we are one step ahead in strategic way in terms of time, money, and space. Now, some of the basic traits in whatever career that I broadly mentioned now, I'll be specifically going into career. Once we enter this field, we cannot do away with reading. Reading is a very essential skill. Reading comprehensively, reading fast, reading better, reading without judgment, reading with multi-dimensional angle is a very important skill which we cultivate throughout the law course. Second is listening skill, especially when you're talking to the client. Communication skill, which is speaking and communicating, both written and oral. And here I must tell you that this is the skill which always requires you to be more receiving than, you have to be better in listening as much as in speaking, and then being contemporary. And then there are other skills such as analytical and other skills. Now, if you look at the legal career, it builds leaders. Already I told you, Gandhi to Barack Obama. In case of legal career, it is versatile. There are many possibilities. Therefore, if you look at the generic career path, which I'm going to show you, our understanding in most of the law schools and traditional legal education systems is that you are readying personnel or manpower for the courts. That's not right. When I did my interview with my alumna in 2007, when I took over, I started seeing the multiple paths where our alumna were engaged as leaders, decision makers, and advocates. And then I compared it with the Harvard Dean's own reflections when she was looking at curriculum reform, Martha Minow, when she took over. There are a lot of parallels. The parallel is like this, that as globalization happened, as the liberalization of the economy happened, there were many challenges which were confronted at all levels. It is the lawyers who had to answer these problems or help other expertise to look at the problems from a justice point of view, equilibrium point of view, risk reduction point of view. And I must tell you, even LLMs are open to such career paths. It's not that LLM is restrictive or that LLMs have to be designing themselves for only these. Therefore, I'm putting forth the career paths which is equally applicable to LLBs and LLMs. So first of all, what we see is law firms, which is the most lucrative career path, and large percentage of products of lead law schools like us, almost about 45% go to law firms. Law firms are more than 300, 400 in this country. And out of them, about 3 tiers have been organized. And in these 3 tiers, any annual turnover between 200 to 600 plus crores could be coming in. So the higher the turnover, they are in the top tier. And it is not just turnover. Turnover is directly proportional to the expertise that they have as well. And then we have boutique law firms where everything is available, but they may not have the huge turnover. They're on the way to become that kind of law firm. We have very, very specialized law firms as well. And then to enter these law firms, the skills broadly required are excellent in drafting, in researching, in counseling, in lawyering, in expertise. You could be general counsels also. After becoming general counsel in corporate, you could enter the law firms if you want to quit that and engage only in that area of specialization. Or you could go from the law firm to a firm also. So in our profession, in a lifetime, there are minimum 3 to 4 shifts which are seen. And within, if you stay in one place also, you could, grow through the ranks from being a trainee associate to partner to, they call them as managing partner or senior partner. So these rungs are there. And then the kind of work that you have is in that specialization where you are growing, you could become an expert, or you could do the court-based work, or you could only present at a higher level, or even preparing the documentation and assisting in the documentation, etc. Now, the second type of work is corporate work. So all of you say, I want to be a corporate lawyer. What do you mean by corporate lawyer? A corporate is like human being requiring every kind of law. So being specialized in corporate law related subject, like we told, competition law, insolvency law, etc., is one thing. Company law, now SEBI law, because capital market has become a major thing. That's one thing. And then there are varieties of corporations which are into pharma, which are into, banking, insurance. So you have to understand that these are organisms which are created by law. Therefore, dealing with them requires a broad set of skills and proper law degree related understanding and the ability to renew yourself, ability to learn new law. Somebody asked that question, how do I learn the new law? Don't worry, your process of your what we can call formation in the law school, along with the internships that we provide for, are going to take care of this. Don't worry about this. And then we have corporate jobs, which are within the companies, which are into fund managers role, compliance role, in-house counseling, personnel administration, which is administering people, especially employment law, labor law, etc. Then legal process outsourcing firms, which are assisting this processing of legal issues for all over the world. Different firms approach them. Legal fraud investigation. These are all certifications. Even we have food license and food inspector certification. Then the third type of law job we have is courts entry. And this is about litigation lawyering. And these are also, if the lawyer is senior and if the lawyer has a great reputation based on the success in the courtroom lawyering at every level, district level, high court, Supreme Court, or a combo of all three, then these are law chamber based, and they could also be into arbitration, property matters, family disputes. And now we have emerging areas such as project lawyers, IPR lawyers, taxation lawyers, forensic lawyers, media lawyers. So forensics, media, all these emerging areas also, specified law chambers also can exist, or such verticals or areas can exist within a big law firm as well. So it is only what type of person you are and what you will try your hands during internship and what you enjoy doing, where do you find your calling. So you have to constantly self-examine and reflect. Okay, it's not that it is the careers are out there in a shopping complex or in a shopping window and you go and pick one and you pay this much. No, it is your own effort and your own adaptability and your own inner voice which you have to constantly listen to and reflect upon with the help of your mentors in the profession and mentors in the institute and some of the peers, that you figure out what you're suited for. It doesn't mean it's a writing on the wall. In the beginning, for 1 or 2 years, many of my students have gone for top tier law firms. Either they were selected directly from the college placement drive. These days, law firms choose not to go by placement, but they choose to go by what we call as internship-based, assessment internship-based selection. Therefore, your behavior is watched. So you are entering the law school in 5-year law program when you are in the tender age of 17 years. And in the degree you are entering when you are 20, 21. So naturally, there is a tendency to be playful, to be social media savvy. So these all things you have to watch and define yourself as a future professional right from day one that you enter the law school. Before you enter the law school, you have to soul search and see, would I be able to withstand the rigor of this profession, of not shying away from reading and writing all the time? And then somebody asked, there is a whole pathway in research. Somebody asked, what is a teaching pathway? How is it like? Is academics good? What's the pay like? Pay is extremely good. You might be loathing nowadays that corporate counsel is paid well, law firms pay well. And you may be comparing and saying that academics and judiciary don't pay. Not correct, because academics now with the 7th pay, if you have a good research output and if you are able to do that kind of prove that your passion for teaching is good in the demo teaching, and you build a profile when you're a student only with the good publications and with a foreign degree, sometimes you have a good market in academics as well. And in judiciary also, there is a salary revision proposal and many other things. And already the salaries are getting better. So salary should not be the only consideration. All the reasonable consideration should be there, at least to get the investment you have made in the law degree to be recovered should be there. Some of you go with bank loans, etc. Because nowadays banks also give good loans. And I'm happy to share with you that Symbiosis Law School Pune has been classified by a few banks as top class institution. So up to 25 lakhs, there is no need of collateral security by certain banks. I'm not saying it's general, by certain banks. So definitely your investment has to come back, but don't go only by the salary. So in research careers, the pathway is like you can be in policy making, you can be researchers in ministry, you can be researchers in lawyers' chambers and law firms, you can be researchers in, you can gather yourself as researchers in a think tank. Like we have so many think tanks in international affairs, in policy and governance. You can be a policy analyst if you have mathematical prowess with economic analysis and other statistical analysis, let us say aptitude. And then you can be a career counselor, you can be a leadership person, you can be an advisor. And in academics, you could be like us. For example, I manage a huge organization with 2,000 plus students, 2,300 students, with large budget, with the good number of non-teaching staff, and visualizing, taking it forward, taking it to the next level. So it's no less than any commercially operated organization. Only thing is we are driven by mission and we are not for profit, because we have to plow back whatever we earn to the education, because that is what TMA by decision in Supreme Court has said, and that is the rule that regulates us. Now coming to other types of law jobs, in public or government jobs, we have judiciary. People have asked how to be a judge at all levels. You know that district judge and magistrate court, which is taluka level, there is a judicial examination. In the Hindi belt, the examinations can govern many states, whereas in other states, state-specific exams will be there. And then these examinations can be directly to the district judge level, or it could be to the magistrate level, and then you can grow through the ranks. The other option is that you practice for a while and then you become district judge by nomination. In some states, it is by nomination, which is followed after the interview. Definitely merit is always assessed. And then we have High Court judiciary, which after good years of standing, if you have good cases, if you have good contribution to legal aid, there are other criteria which the collegium decides. Other judges select you. So you have to build that kind of contribution to the justice system. And then we have solicitors who are, it is in lawyers' career, we have approaches such as solicitors. Solicitors are those who pass the British system of solicitors exam, barristers exam, for which you have to have a training. In Bombay, such training is given. And then you could be appearing for the exam, or you can go abroad and take such training. You could be a barrister also. You could be a prosecutor. Can you hear me? I don't know why it is showing the mute sign. Yeah.
We can hear you, ma'am.
Yeah. So prosecutors are those who, in some states, there is a separate prosecutor's exam. After 2 or 3 years of practice, you can appear for that exam, or even as a fresher, and then you can be selected as prosecutor. In some states, prosecutors are again interviewed and selected. Then you can be a court trainee with the judges, or you could be a judicial clerk, which is a paid job across High Court or Supreme Court. Again, tough, rigorous selection process happens. You could be an advocate on record, for which after 5 years of practice, you have to pass an examination at the Supreme Court level. You could be advocate on record at the High Court level, senior advocate designate, depending on the number of years. Then you can also be appointed to Maha Navaratna and Navaratna companies, which are public sectors, multi-thousand crore companies. And this is happening through the LLM examination results of the CLAT, which is National Law Schools, LLM entrance examination, common entrance examination. So that is the selection process that is followed. So I hope that is clear as far as public or government jobs are concerned. In consulting firms, there is a spelling error there. The consulting firms, predominantly the big 5 of the global level, have their branch in India also. For that, the skill sets which are required are of a very high level in multiple qualification. Mostly the trend in our law school has been that people finish their company secretary parallelly with the law exam. 1 or 2 have finished CA exam also. They would have finished that internship and come here and join. Such people have been selected in Ernst & Young or Deloitte or PwC or Boston Consulting. Boston Consulting comes after some years of experience. We have some alumni there. Baker and McKinsey, the star students, they would have been selected. So as the consulting name itself indicates, it is multidisciplinary, multi-skilled, and multi-job experience. If not multi-job, it is multi-skill and certification, as we saw, CAs, etc., which enables a law graduate to get into this consulting firm's jobs. People need not be thinking that only from the law school I can go to consulting firm. We have a whole lot of alumni who from their earlier law firm jobs have shifted to consulting firms because they have discovered some new skill or they would have built it on job. And then we have the famous civil service. Law and civil service are like mutually married. There is a tendency for lawyers to be attracted to governance because law is bound up with governance. So we produce at least 2 to 3 civil servants in every batch, ranging from IAS to IPS to IRS. So other than this mainstream UPSC dominated or state public service commission dominated civil service, determined civil services, we also have other kinds of civil services. One of our students, lady students, topped it. Ministry of Law, Justice, Law and Justice related civil service has got legal officers who are appointed after master's degree and a few years of service. They also get appointed in the Indian Legislative Service. Indian Legal Service has not come, but law services we call them. And then we have, somebody has asked question on that, Judge and Advocate General in the armed forces, in Navy, Air Force and Army. This is based on all India examination, and then there is an interview. It's based on the merit. I've had, when I taught before Symbiosis, I have had my first batch student becoming Judge Advocate General in Navy. And here we produce in our LLM and in LLB at least one per year. So lawyering with the non-governmental organization is another type of civil service, which is in the non-governmental sector. So a lot of legal aid and a lot of support to the vulnerable section is provided through that. Other than this, law graduates with that penchant can go to many interdisciplinary areas like administrative compliance within the HR. Without a lawyer, it never becomes complete. You could become HR officers anywhere as labor officers and determining company HR policy, guiding the policy. So many people shift their career, especially women when they are family way, etc. They tend to prefer such consulting and mixed jobs for some time till they come back. Because in our country, the mentoring in all law firms and all law related jobs doesn't exist, or family support may not exist. So they may go for such little break and then they come back to the mainstream. So this also is mainstream. And then we have court reporting, court journaling, many other types of mix and match of jobs with the skills that you have. So we identified about 130 plus kind of jobs for law graduates, but nobody becomes eligible for that, or few only become eligible soon after their degree if they have grown through their internship and earlier qualification. Otherwise, generally, the shift between these 3 to 4 possibilities happens once they enter the profession. Now, some of them become stuck to their family offices and grow that office to a next level. Like one of my classmates was a lawyer practicing in a small city. He admitted his son here for 3-year law course. This child was extremely open-minded to all kinds of exposure. And then he was taken as a junior by Additional Solicitor General of India. And by the time he finished LLB, he straight away went to work with him. And now, after he obtained his license, he has been assisting many lawyers in many Supreme Court matters, directly to the Supreme Court. So it all depends on the commitment, the exposure, and the orientation of the law school that you are in. So with that, somebody asked a question on international law. So we want to tell you that we even in the international level, we have law firms. One of our students in the past, our alumni were in the topmost law firm, Herbert Smith Free Hills. We have had current students doing their masters and joining law firms in Dublin, in Ireland, or in UK. I mean, these were star students who in their masters also made records, and then they had the adaptability. They got picked up by the law firms in those big cities. We have had many qualifying in New York bar, in Washington, in many other states. In New York, we have a whole bunch of our students becoming qualified lawyers and working in lead law firms, and they were fellows at the World Bank, among other things. And then we have international corporates in Dubai and other places opting for our students. Now we have emerging areas, which I told you. Somebody asked, how do I become a lawyer? You have to first get your sanad. Once you get to your passing certificate and marks cards, you have to appear for that interview with the Bar Association of the particular state, and then you get your sanad. But that is tentative because your license as a lawyer, you won't be allowed to independently argue a case. You could assist your senior. Your license is based on your All India Bar Association, bar examination. Now, aside from Indian bar recognition, you could also appear for the bar outside India. So many people have it in their barrage so that they are opted by big law firms who have international presence. So in higher education, in banking, in journals, in policy making, everywhere lawyers could make an impact. Somebody was asking the question, with the international law, where will I be employed? First is researching, because international law is the mother of all the laws. And then treaty division is where many of you can be employed. You could be researchers, consultants, academics, advisors, assisting the UN mission, among other things. And in banking sector, somebody was asking, yes, based on the option, banking in our times was compulsory, now it's optional. So you could take banking course as one of the courses and qualify. Banking and insurance go hand in hand, similar types of jobs. Even in RBI, there is a huge scope. You should pass the examination. Now, how to become successful as a lawyer is a question somebody asked. There are certain skills. Mostly for a lawyer to be effective, there are 26 different factors, which are called as Berkeley factors, which are divided into 8 umbrella categories. As I already told you, intellectual and cognitive skill with analysis, reason, creativity, innovation, problem solving, common sense, practical judgment. This is category 1. Second category is research and information gathering, spotting the law, finding the law, applying the law, so questioning, interviewing, fact-finding, court commissions and other things, researching the legal provisions. Communication, how do you impact in your writing, in talking, in listening. Planning and organizing, how do you strategically plan, you organize, how do you manage your own self, and how do you organize others. In your law firm, you have to organize your peon, you have to organize your clients, you have to organize your juniors, you have to organize your accounts guy. So how do you do that? So multiple skills, And then we have conflict resolution skills, very important for us. Whether a client is going to settle that matter, we talk to our sister lawyer or brother lawyer, that kind of negotiation. And sometimes with the judges also, we have to see how to solve, because we facilitate justice. We are the officers of the court. And ability to see the world through the eyes of others is a very important skill that lawyers need. And then we have 6th category in the Berkeley factors, which is client and business relation. Very important. Lawyer has to be an entrepreneur. Lawyer has to have very good HR skills, how to work with others by relationship with legal profession. A lot of Indian lawyers within the bar are, in our profession, camaraderie is very strong. We don't get along very well with many people, but with our fellow professionals, we are very happy, very comfortable, because that is, profession is about what Abhishek Manu Singh calls it, is that kind of a guild. So developing relations and mentoring others and evaluation and development. In barrister examination, we have to attend weekend dinners. They are not for the food. They are for learning the etiquette, developing the networking, learning the manners, learning in non-formal, non-verbal ways of the barrister personality, aside from other things. Lawyer has to have a character, and that character is exemplified by the passion, engagement, diligence, integrity, honesty, ability to manage the stress, developing oneself, and community involvement and service. The famous Rotary Club that was created by a lawyer. Most of the philanthropic activities have had lawyers behind it. Now, among the skills, if you were to see, summarizing from the Berkeley factors and from what I told earlier, communicating effectively, being aware of cross-cultural awareness. You may have a very rural client, illiterate client, interviewing clients, writing letters, drafting documents, negotiating settlements and agreements, evolving early resolution of disputes. Many lawyers try to resolve the dispute before they move to the court, especially ethical lawyers, and representing a client in the legal forum, that responsibility, And aside from that, when you're running an office or even when you are employed as a general counsel, there is a certain managerial skill which is involved, business skill which is involved in our profession. Therefore, business and our profession are two faces of each other. So managing our personal time, managing the risk, managing files, keeping our client communicated and informed. This is one skill which we teach our students. They are doing very well in profession because of that. Working very cooperatively and managing oneself, very important skill for success. Therefore, in the light of all that we discussed so far, I would request you to reflect on yourself. Why do you want to pursue law? Which kind of career option among the whole range that I projected now do you take based on the kind of nature that you have? Shyness, aggressiveness, calmness, solution-oriented, adaptable or rigid, understanding or being stuck into your own point. So how do you get this one? I told you. And one thing I want to tell you, if you're shy, it's not that you're not suited. If you're aggressive, it's not that you're fully suited. You must believe that the latest research shows human brain is malleable. Therefore, we can always change ourselves. That's what you should attempt to. Therefore, you will be choosing your career option. How do you choose? Based on the interest, which is what is the evidence of your interest? I mean, where do you learn and do you enjoy learning? Do you enjoy studying? Do you enjoy work? What keeps you happy? Hard work or not so hardworking? 9 to 5 or 24 hours? Because law firms, 22 hours also youngsters work. And then ability. What do your scores reflect? What are your soft skills? In what all extracurricular, co-curricular activities you are engaged? What's your internship feedback? How do you improve from your internship to internship? How are you compared to your competitors in that law firm internship? Then the opportunities. The opportunities are depending on if you are coming from family of lawyers or your network or your callback internship. Once you go, you intern, firm is happy with you. All other strategies. Now, how do you make the best out of your law career? Lot of questions were asked. I'm only responding to some questions. First question, I'm summarizing all the questions. There's no question I've left. Many questions I answered already. There are many questions which are here, which I'm responding to. First question, I'm a first generation lawyer. Please choose a good law school because your law school could become your capital, which may not come from your family. And then you use your opportunity to the hilt with increased network, with good internships, building strategy on that by constantly self-reflecting. Second, starting the career late. Age is only a number. Swami Prabhupada, at the age of 52, he went and to US. He got a dream. He was a small shopkeeper in West Bengal. And you know now how Krishna conscious society is the most powerful body. Look at our Justice Krishna here. In one life, what all he didn't do, you tell me. He was a communist activist. He was a labor minister. He was a legislator. And towards the fag end of his life, he was a judge. He constantly was a lawyer, whatever he was doing. So there is no age limit to achievement. And loads of officers, if you see, becoming very good lawyers in service area or forest area or police area as their second innings after they retire. So there's no age bar. And then actually in our profession, the more the gray, the more the respect. Unlike in film or other media professions where youth is honored, in our profession, experience is honored and paid more. So that is one. And you could be arbitrator with the area of expertise in engineering or in other areas. Somebody asked, what about LLM? I say that on your own, LLM is enriching because you learn about law deeply. Sometimes, our students have followed small market guides and passed the examination. They really learn the law for the first time when they do LLM. And then your own personal human capital and resource increases. And nowadays in judge exam, there is a special consideration. You may get a point, added point. You may get increment. In many states, such rules are there. And also,
but one flip side is those of you who are ambitious to join law firm, you may postpone your LLM for 2 years or 3 years of law firm experience. Sometimes LLM abroad is sponsored by your law firm on the basis of an undertaking to come back and serve for a few years, or because foreign LLM is expensive. So there are many options, you know. And if you don't do that, you immediately go to UK, do your LLM and come back. In the law firm, you may be 1 point below your colleagues, but then in the long run, you will be ahead of them. And studying the new law, how do I study the new law? Technique and your willingness to learn. We teach the technique in the law school. That means being vigilant and not shying away from learning. Forever learning is our companion, although we don't love that companion. And whether it is LLM or practice, somebody asked, I said, decide on the basis of your personal preference and situation. If you have to earn immediately, LLM is the good way to earn. Practice may not give you that kind of earning in case you don't have a law firm or corporate job. Earning money at the start, how do I earn? Usually seniors pay a reasonable sum, but you negotiate with the senior or you switch the senior if the amount is not enough for your personal expense. And always combine teaching. Many combine teaching. Fresh law graduates are also preferred for teaching if you have good communication skills. So as a student only, you develop those skills. If you have LLM, people will absorb you into teaching because LLM has got a module on teaching in our law school at least. Have related or other source of income. Take permission from the senior to have own clients also. Most of the seniors allow that. They are happy to encourage youngsters. Then with 3 or more years of experience and maturity, you will get better opportunity. Most of the law officers I meet in multinational company, they have worked as practitioners for 3 years and then they have applied for these law jobs in corporate. So that is another pathway. Now, success percentile, somebody asked, success percentile in terms of entrance examination. We have an entrance examination in 60 marks. So minimum 42 marks, 42, 45 marks you have to score for the first level, which selects in 1:10 level, about 3,000 students. From there on, it is not less than 80%. And then somebody asked, what about CLAT score? Symbiosis doesn't take CLAT score. We have our own entrance exam. Somebody asked, what is the best stream, BA or BBA? I say it depends on you, yourself. Somebody also asked whether civil law is best or criminal law. In the beginning, a lawyer should be like a goat. Every work he or she has to take to build the profession and to eke a living. Therefore, there is nothing called best stream. It all depends on, if you consider money as best, then you have to take everything. If you consider thrill and immediate result, then criminal law. If you consider researching and helping the client, then a combo of the two or civil law. What is best for girls in the law stream? It was asked. There is no restriction for boys and girls. It is skills and merit. That is what I want to emphasize. And then LLM, any specialization is good, but some of the people take up the specialization. For example, one of our students said, I take business law because I didn't study company law well. Somebody said, I want to do IPR because I found that my interest is in IPR and I did not discover it in my undergraduate days. So each case is different. How law becomes useful for common people. Every lawyer is expected to do legal aid. At least 10 to 20%, I mean, CSR is 2%, but at least 10 to 20% of your time in a year, please try to give to legal aid. There's plenty of need in the District Legal Aid Services Authority. As a law student also, we have a community legal service project. We have Ministry of Justice's pro bono clinic, so you must include yourself there. Actually, 80% of this country is eligible for legal aid. Therefore, so many percentage of lawyers are not engaging in legal aid. So there's a huge gap there. Careers abroad, first is you have to, somebody asked, so you have to validate your degree there. If that country does not recognize your degree for the examination, then you will have, because they need all English learning, all English answering. And then there are many other questions. If they don't do, then you take a local qualifying degree by being there for 1 year and you apply for the exam. Other than that, in the meanwhile, you can take a lot of jobs. There are plenty of jobs in UK, in EU area, and in US, because these are aging societies and youngsters like you are required there. Therefore, we train our students to be globally competent. There was another question on judiciary or corporate. which is best. You can't compare oranges and apples because orange may be juicy, apple may be meaty. If you look at judiciary, it is about public service commitment. Money may not be comparable to corporate. The kind of commitment and impact you have in judiciary on the lives of common people. On the other hand, the kind of impact you have in corporate in enriching their agenda, these are two different. Both are fruits, but then apple is different, orange is different. So both are legal professions. Now about symbiosis, quickly for 5 minutes, that you know where we stand. You must have read this. What is unique about our law school? I'm showing you there that it is having these international outlook, so many grants, our competence is proved. We won the award for internationalization. We have very robust quality mechanism. That's why year on year, we are listed among the top 5, top 3 law schools in the country and topmost private law school. In terms of academics also, there are optionals available right from undergraduate to postgraduate degrees and then post-graduation in LLM with 8 specializations with very unique areas. This year, we are introducing a very interesting area, TMT, telecommunication, media and technology law, which is otherwise offered only in Queen Mary University in England. So we thought that we will we are already recognized among the global law schools for our excellence with 65 plus collaboration, among other things. And now we are having 4+1 program or 2+1 program where people who finish large part of their law degree here in the penultimate year, they get an opportunity to pursue a master's as they qualify the undergraduate here. Now admission, as you all know, the admission for the 5-year program is strictly by entrance examination. This time the weightage is 30% to the personal interview. We have done away with the writing sample. Whereas in case of masters and LLB, it is all India level entrance examination where part of the examination is also personal interview. Now, computer-based test in the selected centers, and it consists of only these 2 components. So that's about this slide. So thank you very much. And I revert the process to Professor Natasha. Thank you one and all for a good attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am, for that inspirational address, really. Law does indeed cover the ground to the sky. And this was a really creative endeavor on your part to explain to all the law students from all over India the steps that they can take to join and further their career in law. And I'm sure it has inspired many, as you said, to be soldiers of justice. Now, with your permission, ma'am, is it okay if we take a few questions from the chat box?
Yeah,
Thank you.
surely. See, I saw the chat box. Most of the questions we have answered.
Yes, ma'am.
Almost all of the questions. I think if they have heard very attentively from the beginning till now, questions would have come as they were listening. They must have been reflecting. So most of them are answered. To some, Dr. Shahikala has answered. So in spite of this, if any one of you has the question, like Ashish Kumar has raised the hand, can you write your question there? We don't have an opportunity to talk. So please, Ashish Kumar, please you put your question there. So how do home proctored exam as it is strange too? I mean, we will be guiding you what kind of system is required, what kind of, we do the testing also just a few days before the actual examination. To be a good lawyer, does college matter? College does matter if you don't have the contacts and things like that, because our human capital of alumni helps you with the internships and jobs. My job is not here to recommend any internship because that is reserved for, as a confidentiality as part of my job. Thank you. Which law field is best in academics? I have already told that. No previous year papers provided by the college. Some people do their retention test and they sell. That might be your choice and look out. Otherwise, you have to go by the headings we have given: reasoning, comprehension, legal reasoning, reading comprehension, legal reasoning, logical reasoning, analytical reasoning, general knowledge. How about criminal law in the sense what? Why humanities students are not allowed to apply? No, we didn't say people can apply for both BA and BBA LLB. We only gave an advisory that when you selected, you must always when you select it, you must always keep both the options open, or you can have option open based on your interest, your ability, and your vision, and the current strength that you have. Career option, I have already told you. All the career options that I told you are open to both LLB and LLM, because when you enter LLM, you are already an LLB anyway. Government exams for fresh law graduates other than judiciary, SBI, professionary officer, SEBI. I told you prosecutors exam. Then you have net only if you are LLB, any other graduates where they are eligible like IAS, IRS. Do we have quota for CAPF? It depends, because we have for defense personnel, certain, we call them as like border security force, which are semi-defense personnel. We don't cover them. So we have a very clear guideline because it is based on our agreement with the Indian Ministry of Defense, which is highlighted in our admission process. Thank you. There is no girls quota. Automatically, based on the rigor and strictness on merit, every year we have 60 or 55% girls and less percentage of boys. There should be a boys quota, I think, in future, if we were to talk from that angle. 12th marks, yes, in our personal interview, we give certain weightage to the 12th and 10th marks. If your results are announced for 12th, otherwise we give it for 10th marks, which is based on your percentage. Okay, 5 marks, for example, out of 5, all 5, if you are 80% plus, and then proportionately it is 4, 3, 2, 1. We don't give 0 to anyone because unless you pass, you can't come as eligible candidate. So, application process for 3-year and LLM will begin soon. For 5 years, the campaign is on. This webinar is part of that. For a working professional 3-year law course, but it is a full-time law course. If you are working, please don't attempt that because many of those who are working concealed their work, came here, they could never finish their degree. Because they say that law is a jealous wife. So it is very difficult to have law learning and doing some other things because it requires full attention. You won't understand anything unless you attend the classes. Not really. If class 12 is not yet, marks are not out. I mean, usually our exam time marks are out. If they're not out, we go by the 12th marks. What is this college authenticity? I didn't understand. We don't go by any authenticity. 90% of our successful applicants come from North and Central region in Pune. Sometimes within this, we have Maharashtra people also. It is all merit, nothing else. In written ability test, we did not take written ability test. We have done away with it. We have only the entrance examination. A good corporate lawyer is not necessarily from tier 1 law school. I met the legal head of the most ethical company in the world, John Deere Company. He was a graduate from a state university law school from Bangalore. And after 3 years of practice, he had applied and he had grown through the ranks over the 15 years. Extremely technically sound lawyer I had met. Therefore, there is no hard and fast rule. Each one's journey is different. We have a professor now in Singapore National University, which is one of the top 10 law schools in the world. He is from Bangalore Law School. He was in the topmost law firm, directly recruited from National Law School when I was teaching there. But his passion for learning was so much that after he was financially comfortable, he moved to academics, and in academics also is doing extremely well. So it is each one's journey. Be open to that. Don't ever have a rigid viewpoint. You cannot pursue law via online mode because Bar Council is very strict on that. But you can do small law courses in Coursera and others out of interest. Forensic psychology, what would I recommend? Criminal law. Or I would recommend any branch of law, but your career could be in fraud forensics. It could be in crime detection team. It could be also general legal careers, which I told you, like in organizations, etc., could be applicable to you. Okay. Now, Course required is normal law course only is required for international law. International law is very important. Tier 2, 3 NLU versus SLS. There is no assumption like that. There is no tiers among law schools. There are only groups. There is a national law school group, and then there is a state-based law schools. Then there is a central university departments of law like JNU. And then we have private law schools. SLS started its journey as part of a state law school, as part of a state university. And in law schools, nobody has made a tier. How do you make a tier when they offer the same Bar Council recognized course, and they are in the state legislations, they are statutory law schools? So don't ask such questions. I don't think you are wrong to ask, but you are not making correct categories. I'm pursuing MBL. Will that add to my selections to SLS Pune for? Yes, it will add additional qualification. We have 1 mark out of 30 marks for the interview. Can we be legal advisors by taking any of the course? Yes, you can be. Depends on the kind of internship and rigor that you follow in your career. How to prepare for the which interview? If you're talking about Symbiosis Law School interview, there will be questions asked on current legal affairs, your communication, your poise, etc. A certain percentage of marks, other than your academics, extracurricular, and additional qualification in the past. Yes, you can crack without any coaching as well. But better to go with coaching because, I mean, it will depends on how you are. We have students who never went to any coaching on their own. They read the books and they passed. We don't give any tips because it is unethical. Because if I'm the juror and the hangman, how can I advise my client? So please, Campus Law Center is better for LLB. I can't judge anyone else because again, oranges and apples we can't compare. Sorry. Cyril Amarchand come to SLS Pune for law UG students. Sometimes it comes, sometimes it sends official internship notification, and then if our students do well, they get absorbed. Again, it is individual, mind you. As a law school, we are reputed, we can say that we offer these places. It all depends on the crop of students. Sometimes 10 get picked up, sometimes only 2 get picked up. So the investment that student makes, we try to see that everybody is of a certain standards, but law firms, businesses, demands, etc. may need certain types of aptitude. So there is nothing like National Law School and others. It is about the product. Major difference between Noida and Pune. The course in Noida, Nagpur and Hyderabad are regular courses. Ours is honors courses. So the students here have to learn 6 extra courses. Plus, being in Pune, there are many other proximities to Mumbai. So a lot of industry interaction is there. And the long-term experience is an additional advantage. Naturally, please assume only 300 students out of the 20,000 applicants get selected. So if you want a Symbiosis brand, our sister law schools are the only choice. Our trade secret is not with anyone else. So even if it's a regular, I mean, mind you, it is honors course. Therefore, your percentage and your capability is also of higher level because you have to be in the top 300 who get selected. Yeah, fees, see, it is high fees, but I don't want to contest that because there are law schools who may not offer the same value, but may have higher fees. Or who may offer better value, may have woefully higher fees. So each law school has its own context. So appreciate it in that context and try to see and appreciate we are all under UGC rule. We can't keep more than 15% of surplus money, and we can't use any purpose, other purpose than education, that surplus money. So it is plowed back. And mind you, post-COVID, the expenses have gone up by 45%. Why do you forget that? Of course, education costs, we don't get any government funding. So we are self-financing. Everything costs, but I told you already, without collaterals you can get loans in the bank, and don't burden your parents, and many parents who can afford also do that. AIAT acceptable? What do you mean by that? We have our own all India admission test for LLB and LLM. That is our own, and SLAT for undergraduate. We don't accept any other course. The bank, IDBI bank has made a special provision. All other nationalist banks, private banks, Yes, admissions work for students with Cambridge and IGCSE background. Don't worry about that. Equivalency table is also there. In fact, these students do very well because reading, writing, listening, the skills which I told already, the formation is there in the leadership and technical competence and global citizen. They fare extremely well, I must tell you. Semester-wise notes or books for 3-year LLB course, we don't believe in providing notes. We believe in providing materials and providing perspective. So yeah, almost all the students get lecture notes and data resources, very structured, in a very structured way. So don't worry about it. Scholarship, yes, we have umpteen number of scholarships, but these scholarships are restricted to the meritorious students. We are one of the 5 institutions recognized as the institution of eminence for SC, ST support scholarship. Now for economically backward classes as well. And then we have a kind of, economically weaker sections. We have OBC, we have then notified tribe, we have aside from the SC, ST scholarship. And we have some private scholarships which we have managed, but they mostly go in favor of the highly meritorious students. Like I tell you, we have alumnus award for company law, which are in the range of 50,000, 10,000, Palkiwala awards, then Champavati Dode Civil Service Award. Then we have Ishwari Prasad, the Defense Advocate Award, which goes in the competition. Shantanu Tomar Award based on essay and academic merit. So we have matrices for everything. And Symbiosis is own scholarship for the toppers in the entrance exam. 4 in undergraduate and 1 in postgraduate is available. So most of the questions we have answered, some I have answered. Hostel facility both for boys and girls in the first year is there. In the first year, we would say, please choose hostel only, and then you will get to know the city. You can compare rates and choices. You are unable to attend the lectures. So for such things, for your college's examination, how can I offer notes? You must buy in the bookshops. What happens if you get selected in the entrance exam? See, getting selected, again, I tell you, 20,000 students appear. We shortlist 3,000 students. Getting selected in the entrance exam is the first phase. Fortunately for you, this year 70% weightage is given for entrance exam marks. Then the 30% is for personal interview. So you should crack that personal interview by speaking well, by knowing about the current legal affairs, hopefully with your marks, with your extra qualification and extracurricular. Is there any placement for LLM? Yes, we have had corporate play. All placements opened up to LLM, but mostly they are selected if they pass the NET examination as teachers, as research associates, teaching associates. Many have cracked JAG and judicial exam when they were students here. Handful of them have gone for corporate placement. Our brochure tells you everything. And then, so placement is there for LLB, LLM, everybody. For LLM, we don't have direct hostel facility because we don't keep undergraduate and postgraduates in the same hostel. However, some places, top meritorious 2-3 may get. For rest of them, we have verified list of hostels, which we will provide, paying guest, etc. Nobody is without a shelter because there is plenty of spaces available closer to the college. After CLAT preparation, how to prepare? My answer is almost the same preparation is good enough, but it would be worthwhile if you talk to others and find out. SLS reservation for border security force does not come under the strict terms of Ministry of Defense's defense personnel. However, you can verify during the admission process. Average package for law undergraduates. I want to tell you that our highest package in 23-24 has been 20 lakhs. Average package has been 12 lakhs. And year-wise, it has ranged between 19.5, 18 lakhs, 16 lakhs a year. And 40% of our placement has been law firm, 7% public sector, 20% corporate, 16% litigation, 1% judiciary, 2% non-government organization, 3% academics, higher studies 5%. Most of them go for higher studies. 5 out of about 15 students a year in Ivy League university. This year I've got 3 students pursuing in British top universities. Entrepreneurs 5% and others are 1%. JAG is Judge Advocate General Examination, which is for a judge position in the army courts, because army has a separate law called martial law. Okay, so it happens by entrance exam and interview. LLM admission process and dates, please look for the notification. Generally, our LLM process happens in the month of June itself. But our announcement will happen now, and we close admission applications by April. Can we do BCom and law together? Not in Symbiosis Law School. If you're a BCom graduate already, you can go to our 3-year LLB program. But BCom and law together is available in some of the national law schools like Bombay, Aurangabad, many other law schools. We don't have that combination as of now. SLAT examination is first weekend of May. You can have 2 tries. First try is on 5th May, Sunday, and second try is on 11th May, Saturday. Okay. So best of 2 is taken into consideration. The trend that I saw last year was sometimes second try is the best, sometimes first try is the best. So it all depends. Thank you. Foreign universities, why I already told you that we have got with Arizona, with the number of Irish universities, number of British universities, an agreement whereby after the 4th year or 2nd year, you can go for the final year there and you can earn an LLM there. And meanwhile, you could become qualified to pursue a job there or to pursue their law practice examination. So this is how foreign universities consideration. Most of my students, I told you already, yearly about 15 students get admission all over the world because our law degree, our reference letters are valued very much. 2 top law firms, whom do you consider as top? All the top tier law firms, Trilegal, CAM, SAM, all of them come to SLS. What about consideration in I told you already. Now, I hope all the questions have been clearly answered and you are very clear about it. For getting placed, any specialization in LLM is the same. It depends on what you mean by placed. If it is practice, then in that area of specialization you can go. If it is teaching, any area of specialization is valid. If it is judiciary, also any area of specialization is valid. If it is corporate, business law and IP law seem to have a trend, but even criminal law students have been picked up. It all depends on how you design your this one. I was told by top, let me tell you this bonus point. I was told by top employers that we always look for minimum 3 internships in the area of job that they are preferring. Suppose one of you wants a job in the competition law, they would see that minimum 3 internships you have done in the area of competition law, which means the way you design your profile is the one that matters alongside your thorough understanding of concepts. So read, master the concept, have case laws on fingertips, have the clarity. If there is confusing questions, have the capacity to answer them with clarity. Now, I think all the questions we have answered. Mostly questions are repetitive as well. Yeah, banks, AIT, I told you. Most of the questions have been answered. If there is any extra question other than what has been answered both in presentation and both in the form of Q&A, 24 new messages. Fees per annum about 3.5 lakhs for UG, that is 5-year law course per year. And for 3-year program, about maybe around 3.25 to 3.4. And for LLM, 1.5 to 2 lakhs. So we will announce the exact figure soon because our approvals are awaited. I have done LLM and preparing for NET. The questions are jumping. Do the job. So please suggest. Teach. You teach as teaching associate and appear for NET. Immediately register for PhD also. If teaching is what you want to do. Otherwise, go for research associate job. Otherwise, because in legal education, let me tell you, legal education has got 40+% deficit in terms of teaching position apt people, because all run to the profession, all run to other kinds of avenues, corporates, etc. Teaching is really orphaned. And then we try to make a combo with practicing lawyers, retired judges, etc. So you have to, the LLM plus net plus kind of student or any other unemployed student, my advice is improve your skills first. Because 85% of professional success in researchers, it is shown, depends on the soft skills. So develop your skills. Difference between advocate and lawyer, no difference. Both are, it is lawyer who advocates. What is advocacy? Standing up for somebody. So an advocate stands up for somebody through the agency and through the tool of law. I can be a media advocate also. So advocate is advocate, talks for, okay? So placements, I told you already. Why do you repeat the question? You didn't listen, is it? In the slide also it was there. If you want to be independent and go in teaching, that is good. But becoming independent is a small step. It's a stepwise process. Tier 1, try 1 and try 2, no difference. We keep the similar type of standard, similar type of difficulty level, similar type of content, but not the same. No duplication. So some students do well in the first. It all depends. See, success in examination is, aside from your capacity to answer question, that there is a mood, that there is opportunity, and learning lesson from the first try. All these matter. That's why we want to give 2 opportunities. You can do only 1. You can do all 2. It's up to you. Yes, foreign law firms have come. I told you PwC has come. E&Y has come. All other top big 5 firms, at least 3 have come to the law school. Yeah, NLU versus SLS depends on which NLU you are talking about. Ranking is an indicator. So read the ranking. No more explanation on any comparison. Packages, I told you already. We have to, I think, come out of the loop of comparison, come out of the loop of competition. We have to look at what is common and uncommon, where are the best practices. And as a receiver, as a student and a future aspiring lawyer, you do the best and collect the best from everywhere. They say that you should become like a honeybee. Collect the honey from everywhere and define your life. Oh, thank you. Can a student? Yes, you can. Bar Council insists that till 10th, the qualification should be direct. It should be direct. But even 10th examination, if a student attends open school, Bar Council doesn't prohibit. It's a very egalitarian approach in Bar Council, you know, as lawyers, very justice-oriented approach. Good career in law, what tips to first generation I have already told in my slide. So, do I repeat again 1 hour of my discussion? Okay, so most of the questions now onwards are repetitive. So, please permit me to hand over the podium to my colleagues. Full recording, it all depends on the organizers. I will leave it to them. They'll mail you. Thank you very much. Thank you and all the best, and God bless you in your attempt to join the best law school and to be the best lawyers, to bring the best legal system and justice system to this country. Benefit of diploma course, we call it as extra qualification, value added learning, and also specialization oriented special skills. Okay, thank you. Over to you, Natasha and
Yes.
Dr. Mohan. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am, for wonderfully answering those questions. And we have a few more questions, but because of paucity of time, we won't be able to take all of them. However, ma'am has tried her level best to answer the most important ones. And for any other questions regarding SLS Pune or the entrance exam, please do visit our website, simlaw.ac.in. Thank you once again, ma'am. And as we come to an end of this much needed and much awaited session on law as a career, I would like to invite Dr. Prajita Mohanty, Deputy Director Academics at Symbiosis Law School, Pune, to kindly deliver the vote of thanks. Ma'am.
Thank you, Professor Natasha. We have had a very detailed webinar on what careers to choose in law. A lot of questions have been raised by the participants and have been responded to. At the end of it, it's my honor to deliver the vote of thanks. First and foremost, on behalf of the team from Symbiosis Law School, Pune, I extend a sincere vote of thanks to our Dean, Faculty of Law, Symbiosis Law School, Pune, and Director, Symbiosis Law School, Director, Symbiosis Law School, Pune, Dr. Shahikala Gurpur, for the detailed for delivering such a detailed webinar. Ma'am, with her wide experience in academia, corporate and non-governmental sectors, has very effectively put up various avenues and scope under the field of law. The varied opportunities available under law, whether law firms to corporates, to litigation, research, think tanks, government jobs, consulting firms, civil service to HR, everything has been covered by ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for delivering such a wonderful and informative session to the aspiring candidates in the field of law. I thank the admission team at SLS Pune, the IT team of Symbiosis Law School Pune, and our media partner SRV, who have worked behind the scene and contributed to the success of this webinar. I thank the computer faculty, Professor Natasha Martin. I thank the participants in the webinar for attending and also for putting up the queries. I hope it has been a very interesting and enriching experience for you. And I hope that it also prepares you to have a successful career in law in future. With this, we come to an end of the webinar. I thank you one and all.
Thank you, ma'am, for your vote of thanks. And thanks to one and all for joining. If you have missed any parts of the webinar, you can find the same on our official YouTube channel. We are really encouraged by your enthusiasm. And thank you once again. Good evening to all.
Thank you all. Thank you, parents. Thank you, students. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
May I leave? Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.